Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. The Honorable Prime Minister, the Honorable Leader of Opposition, Deputy Prime Minister, fellow Cabinet Ministers, Assistant Ministers, and the Honorable Members of Parliament. Mr. Speaker, sir, I rise today to offer the support of the Ministry of Education to the Honorable Prime Minister's motion on His Excellency the President's opening Parliament address. His Excellency has laid before us a vision that is bold, principled, and uncompromising in its call for national progress. And as we stand in election year, the people of Fiji are watching closely. They want to know which leaders have the courage to make a difficult decision, who has the political will to drive real reform, and who has delivered results over the past 3 years. Mr. Speaker, sir, this coalition government has chosen the harder path, the path of rebuilding, restructuring, and restoring integrity to our national institutions. And nowhere has this been more evident than in the education sector. Mr. Speaker, sir, let me be very clear. The reforms we have undertaken in the last 3 years have not been easy. They have required political courage, administrative discipline, and a willingness to confront long-standing weaknesses that previous governments ignored or avoided. When we assumed office, we inherited a fragmented education system, outdated legislation from 1966, weak curriculum standards, poor learning outcomes, infrastructural neglect, a demoralized teaching workforce, and institutions that had drifted from their core mission. It would have been easy to maintain the status quo. It would have been easy to avoid difficult reforms, but this coalition government chose progress over convenience. And today, Mr. Speaker, sir, I stand proudly to say we have delivered, we have reformed, and we have laid the foundation for a stronger education system for the next generation. His Excellency reminded us that 152 years ago, the leader of session placed education and civilization at the heart of Fiji's development. And today, that mandate is not only historical, it is political, moral, and urgent. We thank the Methodist Church of Fiji and Ratu for accepting the challenge that our education system faces in terms of moral values and student behavior. And this year, the Methodist Church calendar has scheduled the Madhonibuli prior to the beginning of the academic year as a yearly event where issues related to education, such as drugs, are discussed. This government has made education a national priority, Mr. Speaker, sir, because we understand that a nation that invests in its people secures its future. As in the 2025-26 budget allocation, 847 million was budgeted to the education sector, with 675 million to the Ministry of Education alone. This is a deliberate, strategic investment in the future of every Fijian child. The 2023 Denarau Declaration, the Fiji National Development Plan, and Vision 2025 is the backbone of our reform agenda. It sets out 7 thematic pillars that guide every decision that we make, from curriculum reform to teacher development, from infrastructure to digital transformation. This government is not patching holes, Mr. Speaker, sir. We are rebuilding the system from the ground up. Mr. Speaker, sir, the Education Bill 2025 is the most significant legislative reform in more than 60 years. The 1966 Act belongs to a colonial era. It cannot serve a modern Fiji. And the new bill will establish a national curriculum advisory and assessment authority, will enforce compulsory education with real accountability, regulate ECE, primary, secondary, TVET, and higher education under one coherent framework, introduce provisions for homeschooling and private schools, mandate a future-ready curriculum, including AI, digital literacy, climate change, civic responsibility, and cultural identity. This bill, Mr. Speaker, sir, is not just a legal document, it is the architect of Fiji's future. Mr. Speaker, sir, the Fiji Education Commission early findings are clear that we must move from exam-driven schooling to learning first, a system that values critical thinking, problem solving, and real learning outcomes. The data is sobering that over 80% of schools report Year 4 students below math standard. Nearly 2/3 report Year 4 students below reading and writing standards. And almost half of secondary schools Year 9 entrant are below proficiency. These findings, Mr. Speaker, sir, justifies the scale and urgency of our reforms. Mr. Speaker, sir, in October 2025, we launched the Yabutu program, a US $5 million initiative supported by GPE, UNICEF, and DFED. Yabutu ensures that every child, including those with disabilities and those in remote communities, receive quality early childhood education. A strong foundation is not optional, it is essential. Mr. Speaker, sir, the 2025 LANA results show real progress. Year 5 literacy increased from 90% to 95%, and Year 7 literacy increased from 93% to 95%. But numeracy remains a challenge. In Year 5, numeracy stagnant at 74%, and Year 7 numeracy declined from 83% to 81%. And we are responding with a targeted numeracy strategy, and I will report back to this House on its implementation. Mr. Speaker, sir, the Year 13 Flexible Pathways Program is already being piloted in 11 schools. It provides a structured transition to tertiary education, tertiary-style learning experiences, and vocational and workforce-ready pathways. This is how we prepare young people for the real world, not by chance, but by design. Mr. Speaker, sir, the new curriculum will integrate digital literacy and AI, climate change and sustainability, civic responsibility and discipline, Wasavabiti and Hindi, health, nutrition, and physical education. We will also strengthen digital media literacy to combat misinformation, a growing threat to national unity, especially in an election year. Mr. Speaker, sir, technical vocational education training, or TVET, is central to creating decent work and empowering rural and maritime communities. Over 90% of TVET graduates secure employment within months, and we are expanding these pathways and aligning them with industry needs. For the first time ever, the Ministry of Education National TVET Skills Fair was hosted at the HFC Bank Stadium, providing a platform for student projects and industry talent scouting, which will be an annual event. Mr. Speaker, sir, as we prepare our children for the technological world we live in, the Ministry of Education is investing in e-learning platforms that will allow students to access quality online learning resources. And these platforms include the Moodle, a widely used learning management system that supports interactive lessons, assessment, and teacher engagements. This system is currently being piloted with Year 13 flexi schools that will expand the horizon of students for exploration learning. Full implementation will take place in 2027 for all the schools, taking into consideration electricity, connectivity, and geographical locations. The GIGA implementation, as Fiji, as the first East Asian nation in the GIGA initiative, had trained 746 schools across its 4 divisions on the GIGA meter, and now has 772 schools live on the GIGA dashboard for real-time internet connectivity status updates. Education Perfect. The Ministry has entered into an online learning tool subscription agreement with Education Perfect Limited. The objective is to enhance education services for students through an online learning platform. Currently, we are verifying with vendors to agree on the implementation and contractual arrangements. Digital audio and video broadcasting studio. The Ministry of Education now has 2 studios and 1 editing room to support the development of educational audio, video, and graphic materials for students. The Australian Fiji education program provided financial boost for the recording of the materials, and 63 examination revision video lessons were developed, and these lessons were aired on the Walesi TV program and uploaded on the Educational Hub and the Ministry's media platform. The FAMIS and FESA system, the system which integrates student data and learning resources to improve access and monitoring, numeracy exams, teacher history, assisting teacher placement and teacher appointments, and data input from school levels needed to be accurate, timely, and complete to allow effective utilization of FAMIS and FESA. These platforms, Mr. Speaker, sir, have been rolled out progressively with training provided to teachers, to staff to ensure effective integration into the classroom. The goal is to ensure that every child in Fiji, regardless of location, has access to the same quality of education through digital means. Mr. Speaker, sir, Cabinet has endorsed the student progression and retention policy to strengthen learning outcomes and ensure students have advanced through the education system with the necessary foundational knowledge and skills with clear guidance on retention where learning benchmarks are not met. In addition, the scaling of marks for national education has been reintroduced for Year 12, Year 8, and Year 13 national examination to promote equity, fairness, and national credibility in the assessment while ensuring that no student is at disadvantage during the transition. Our commitment to equity is demonstrated through free education, free primary and secondary education, a 100% tertiary fee subsidy for eligible students, infrastructure investment in rural and maritime schools, decentralized service delivery, inclusive education provisions in the education bill. Compulsory education provisions will ensure that every child is enrolled and attending schools. Persistent non-compliance may result in penalties, not to punish parents, but to protect children. Honorable Speaker, sir, education must remain the cornerstone of our nation's development. Today, I am pleased to report that government assistance under the Back to School program has reached approximately over 200,000 children, representing 98% of those who requested this support. The remaining 2% have yet to receive assistance. I encourage to check with their children's respective schools and complete the application process. To ensure that no child is left behind, the Ministry of Education has extended the deadline for application until this Friday. Parents and guardians can access the forms online, fill the forms accurately, and get it stamped by the school heads to ensure that they are bona fide students, and drop it at the divisional education officers who will forward it to the Ministry of Education headquarters. Mr. Speaker, sir, we have established 13 new schools, 13 new secondary schools in disadvantaged and remote areas. 7 have already been opened, and 3 schools established in 2005 are yet to be opened, which is Totoya Secondary, Matuku Secondary, and Wanikeli Junior Secondary. The 7 schools that were opened in 2026 included Namuka Junior Secondary School, Ratu Memorial Secondary School, Nawaka College, Naweni Secondary School, Kasawa South Secondary School, Namboro Junior Secondary School, and Nanronga Navosa Provincial College. The remaining 3, Nalamba District Secondary School, Nangonidolo Junior Secondary School, and Tokemalo Junior Secondary School, are in the final stages of preparation for their official opening, which is anticipated shortly. These schools will accommodate Year 9 class only, with minimal student numbers of 20 required to begin operations, commencing with Year 9 classes this year and Year 10 classes every year onwards. This will ensure that students in remote and disadvantaged communities are able to access secondary education closer to home. Mr. Speaker, sir, Cabinet has endorsed the establishment of the National Research Council, legislated under the National Research Council Act 2017, which provides for the legal framework for the Council and oversees the National Research Fund. This Council will be appointed in the near future. At TSLS, I'm proud to confirm that there has been a significant increase in TSLS support to all eligible students. Out of the 22,151 who are currently on full scholarship, over 10,000 students are on new scholarship, which included 320 who have opted for tuition-only option. Mr. Speaker, sir, our progress is not achieved in isolation. We acknowledge with deep gratitude the support of our development partners. The government of Japan has funded the construction of classrooms and facilities under its grant assistance for grassroots human security projects, including new classrooms and solar system for schools such as Namalata District School, Ratu Memorial School, Tangange and Navurivure District School, to name a few. These grassroots projects recommence after a lapse of 5 years due to poor governance and accountability with stakeholders. Mr. Speaker, sir, with under United Arab's Red Crescent partnership with the Fijian government, it has commenced phase 2 of the MOU signing for the building of 2 duplex quarters for Ratu Simeone Martin Tombo College, Singatoka Methodist High School, and Moira College. And work should commence by second quarter of 2026. The Australian government, through the Fiji-Australian Vuvale Partnership, continues to provide substantial development assistance. DFAT is supporting water sanitation and hygiene facilities in 45 schools along the Suvarnasori corridor, benefiting around 30,000 students. We also thank the Australian government for the audit that was done in the Suvarnasori corridor, and we hope that future discussions will undertake audit for schools in the Nanronga to Ra corridor and the Northern Division to give us current status of wash facilities and school conditions. The new schools that will be constructed under these programs are the Lalabalavu Secondary School, Patuanga Primary School, and Suva Primary School. And preliminary work has started on these projects. We also acknowledge other bilateral partners who provide scholarships, teacher training, and technical support, strengthening our education system and ensuring that our children have access to quality learning environments. Mr. Speaker, sir, allow me to speak directly to our teachers. For the teachers, you are entrusted with the lives, minds, and future of our children. Your influence is profound. Your decision shapes the next generation. In an election year, when emotions run high and misinformation spreads easily, I urge our teachers to remain focused on their noble calling. Your classrooms remain places of learning, not arenas of political influence, and your decisions must prioritize the safety, well-being, and development of our children. We trust our teachers, and with that trust comes accountability. Mr. Speaker, sir, I also highlight a milestone achievement that speaks directly to the political will and leadership this coalition government has demonstrated. For 16 long years, the Ministry of Education had no meaningful engagement with the teacher unions of this country. 16 years without structured dialogue, 16 years without genuine consultation, and 16 years where the voices of teachers, the very people who carry the weight of our education system, was sidelined. Under this leadership, that era has ended. Mr. Speaker, sir, this government has restored the spirit of partnership and goodwill with the teacher unions. We have reopened the doors of dialogue. We have re-established formal consultation mechanisms, and we have done so not out of political convenience, but out of respect for the teaching profession and a commitment to building a stronger, more collaborative engagement system. Mr. Speaker, sir, this renewed partnership has already produced tangible progress: improved teacher deployment process, transparent dialogue on promotions and appointments, collaborative work on teacher welfare and professional development, joint participation in policy discussions, including curriculum reform and school governance, a shared commitment to improving learning outcomes for our children. This is what political will looks like. This is what leadership looks like, and this is what progress looks like. Mr. Speaker, sir, I now turn to an issue that threatens the very soul of our nation. Fiji is facing a drug crisis. Not a distant threat, but a present danger. Not a problem for tomorrow, a national emergency today. We are seeing increased drug trafficking, the targeting of school children as carriers or couriers, the infiltration of communities by organized networks, the rising addiction among youths, and a deeply alarming surge in HIV cases linked to needle sharing and drug use. Mr. Speaker, sir, this is not just a law and order issue. This is a national survival issue. We cannot and we will not allow our children to be used as pawns in the drug trade. And we cannot and will not allow drugs to destroy the future of this nation. And we cannot and will not stand by while HIV infections rise because of preventable dangerous behaviors linked to drug use. Mr. Speaker, sir, this is not just a law and order issue, this is a national survival issue. The Ministry of Education is not fighting this battle alone. We have forged strong partnership with the Fiji Police Force, the Ministry of Health and Medical Services, Ministry of Youth and Sports, Ministry of Women, international governments and development partners, civil society organizations, faith-based organizations, and community leaders. And together, we are implementing school-based drug awareness programs, early warning reporting system, counseling and rehabilitation pathways, HIV prevention and education campaigns, community outreach, and parental engagement. Mr. Speaker, sir, if we do not act now, we risk losing an entire generation. But if we stand united, government, schools, families, communities, we can save Fiji from this path of destruction. Let this be our rallying cry, not our children, not our school, not our future. Mr. Speaker, sir, in conclusion, education is a foundation upon which we build our nation's future. With the support of our government, our development partners, and our communities, we are ensuring that every child in Fiji has the opportunity to learn, opportunity to grow, and opportunity to thrive. And together, we are not only investing in classrooms and scholarship, we're investing in digital platforms that connect our children to the world of knowledge. We're investing in the dreams and potentials of our young people. Let us continue to work hand in hand to build a stronger, a smarter, and more resilient Fiji through education. Mr. Speaker, sir, this government is not waiting for change. We are delivering it. We are not talking about reform. We are implementing it. We are not promising a better future. We are building it. His Excellency has set the direction. The Ministry of Education is executing the mission, and the people of Fiji will judge us not by our words, but by our results. We wholeheartedly support His Excellency, the President's motion before this House. Thank you very much.